Good afternoon. Welcome back to Trinity Episcopal Cathedral in downtown Portland, Oregon. My name's Katie Burk, and I'm the organ scholar here.
And I'm Bruce Neswick, the Director of Music, and we are thrilled as always to have you join us. We set out in this series to look at least two of the hymns for the following Sunday, and in fact we'll sing and play for you today and have you join us if you can, the two hymns for this Sunday afternoon's service. And we thought we'd start with the hymn that begins this Sunday afternoon service, hymn number 367. This is the text, "Round the Lord in glory seated, cherubim and seraphim." This is a fantastic text that addresses the extraordinary vision that Isaiah shared in the book of Isaiah in chapter 6. "In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lofty, and the hem of his robe filled the temple. Seraphs were in attendance above him. Each had 6 wings. With 2 they covered their faces, and with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they flew. And one called to another and said, 'Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory.'" What an extraordinary vision that was. And of course, the words from that passage eventually became the Sanctus in the Eucharistic liturgy, and also formed the basis, as I touched on earlier, for this wonderful hymn text by Richard Mant, who was an English clergy person and educator who straddled the 18th and 19th centuries. And if you look closely at the text, you'll see where he takes that thrice repeated holy and uses it 3 or 4 times in the body of the text in all 3 stanzas. And the tune that we sing it to in this current hymnal of ours is called Rustington, and it's a tune by the famous English composer C.H.H. Perry, who straddled the 19th century going into the 20th century, so a full century beyond the text author. And C.H.H. Perry was a renowned educator and composer, one of the leading composers in what we now call the second English musical Renaissance, spearheaded by such figures as Perry and Stanford and Ralph Vaughan Williams and others. And it's a tune that perfectly matches the splendor of the text, I feel, and it has become a big favorite of congregations nationwide and worldwide for this coming Sunday, which is Trinity Sunday. So let's sing all 3 stanzas of this wonderful hymn.
The Lord in glory seated, cherubim and seraphim filled his temple and repeated each to each the alternative. Lord, thy glory fills the heaven, earth is with thy fullness stored. Unto thee be glory given, holy, holy, holy Lord. Heaven is still with glory ringing, earth takes up the angels' cry, holy, 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 singing, Lord of hosts, the Lord most high. With his seraph train before him, with his holy church below, thus unite we to adore him, bid we thus our anthem flow.
The The next hymn we'll take a look at today will be the final hymn for this weekend's special evening service featuring the Trinity Meditations of Olivier Messiaen. And that hymn is Holy, 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 with a tune by John Bacchus Dykes, Nicaea, and the text by Reginald Heber. This pairing has been together for quite a while, composed for the first edition of Hymns Ancient and Modern in 1861. The text is also references the passage from Isaiah that Bruce just talked about, Isaiah chapter 6, the Holy, 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 and also Revelation chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. And the composer of this tune, John Bacchus Dykes, he was the presenter and choir director at Durham Cathedral in the later 1800s, mid to the late 1800s. And he was an important figure in terms of choral reform. He instituted more rehearsals, had higher standards for attendance, and had started doing choir festivals even. And he wrote over 300 different hymn tunes. So that's a pretty interesting fact about him. We'll sing verses 1 and 4 of this particular hymn, hymn number 362 in the Episcopal Hymn of 1982. But for verse 4, I will depart from the tune and sing the very famous descant written by David Mackay Williams. So here's verses 1 and 4 of Holy, Holy, Holy.
So, thank you again for joining us. We're thrilled that you might come back tomorrow for our services on Trinity Sunday, including the morning Eucharist at 10 with some great music then, and also the afternoon service that Katie was mentioning, centered around Messiaen's organ cycle, Meditations on the Mystery of the Holy Trinity. The fifth in our, and final, service in our cycle of liturgy centered on some of the great organ works by the great French composer Olivier Messiaen. So come join us then too, virtually still at this point. Although we're very much on the cusp of doing live services again in the afternoon. We've been doing in-person services for the morning Eucharist for some time now, but before ere long, the evensongs and other special events should be in person as well.
And speaking of evensong,
yes, exactly.
We have our final choral evensong of the academic term coming up on June 6th. It'll be streamed at 5 p.m. It'll also feature a 4:30 organ recital by a Trinity choir member and rising college freshman James Walton, who will give us a fabulous organ recital of all German music for 30 minutes before evensong. So.
Exactly, yeah. So this is June 6th. We'd love to have you attend that recital and evensong, as Katie just mentioned, and support the West Coast campus of Indiana University. It turns out that James is going to study with Katie's teacher at Indiana University, Chris Young, who was our Crozier recitalist here a couple years ago. So just another connection here at Trinity, which is very exciting. And then it turns out, actually, we've both of us failed to mention that we're sharing the console this coming Sunday for the Messianic liturgy with her very dear friend from IU, who's also a doctoral candidate there, and his name is Evan Cogswell, and he's actually doing his doctoral work on Messianic, specifically this particular piece, the Meditations on the Mystery of the Holy Trinity. So he's written some wonderful program notes, and he's sharing the load of playing those part of those some of those 9 movements with us. So the IU connection continues, which is wonderful. So anyway, great to have you here today, and we'll see you soon.
Hopefully see you soon.
Okay.
Yeah.